Welcome back. Workers have resumed nationwide after the New Year celebrations. However, civil servants in the Federal Capital Territory seem to have extended their holiday. Unlike their colleagues across other regions, they are yet to resume work. Our correspondent, Ayotunde Balogun, looks at how some civil servants in other parts of the country, such as Lagos and Edo, were seen discharging their duties.
The new year is here, and for workers across the country, it's time to get back to the rigors of day-to-day activities as it affects their work or business. In the Federal Capital Territory, workers in the civil service are yet to resume, even after the public holiday, as some of them gave reasons for this.
One of the reasons is because the office is just resuming after New Year. A lot of person traveled, and at the end of a year like this, a lot of people go on leaves. So I think that is one thing that has contributed to the office being deserted.
People are still at home, they are still enjoying their Christmas and New Year periods.
However, in Lagos, southwest Nigeria, economic activities resumed, but on a low scale. A few of the state civil servants were seen resuming at the state secretariat in Alausa. At the airport, travelers formed a long queue, especially at the aero contractors counter. No thanks to airlines that are not operating at the moment. Passengers, however, ask for a better aviation industry.
The time you come, they say this flight is also time, just wasting people's time, and no compensation or anything in any eventuality. So I just manage it.
Still in the southwest, vehicular traffic picked up in Abeokuta, the capital of Ogun State, as workers headed to their various offices and businesses with the help of commercial vehicles on the roads. The Ogun State head of service had a few words, though, for the workforce.
This year is going to be full of political activities, so it is for us to make sure that the engine of government continues to run smoothly. We should face our duties squarely, report punctually to work, carry out all assignments as I went due, and make sure that we stay clear of what we should not do.
To the South-South region, civil servants resumed work in Edo State and were seen discharging their duties. Now that the holidays are over, workers have expressed the hope that working conditions in 2014 will be improved, even as they resolve to put in their best at all times. Ayotunde Balogun, Channels Television News.
Now, motorists who violate traffic rules and are apprehended by officers of the Federal Road Safety Corps will now certainly face prosecution. As part of a safety initiative for the festivities, the Corps set up quick response for road incidences, and mobile courts is just part of that package. So far, about 1,000 people across the country have been convicted of offences and have been charged accordingly.
This is meant to serve as a deterrent to anyone who thought road traffic offence can be overlooked. The Federal Road Safety Corps set up this mobile court to prosecute motorists who violate laws, and already it has started receiving guests.
I can see a register of your friends and bring you with you, sir. Okay, the second one I'm going to bring you with you, sir.
Officials of the Corps say the measure is not punitive, but will further deter people who before now would only be asked to pay fines for contravening traffic rules.
It's part of our special patrol for the season where we are in. We don't just arrest people alone, right, and make them to pay fines. Some of them behave in a way that is not unfathomable. So we bring them to the magistrate court, let them come and explain to the judge, the magistrate, why exactly they did what they did. It's a way of just cautioning them and sending signal to the road users that it's not only about payment of fines, but about facing the law and they're getting penalized.
The enforcement with mobile court seems to have more effect than ordinary patrol, because people definitely are scared of being taken to court. But if you are taken to court and you are convicted, it's a dent on your image.
We have arraigned close to 928 traffic offenders, while about 785
have been convicted, and I think we have about 143 discharged. So it's something that is different from the conventional punitive measure given to traffic offenders. It's a way we want a situation where it serves as more deterrent to offenders.
When next you hit the roads, be sure to fasten your seatbelt and obey all traffic rules. Be safe. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the police in Lagos celebrated the start of the new year in a unique way by specially feeding all robbery suspects. At the command headquarters in Ikeja, the police commissioner, Umar Manko, explained to journalists why he chose to feed the suspects in custody. He also said the service will be more police-friendly in the new year.
We started this thing last year. I just felt that it's a new year. And whatever the situation, even though some of them killed our colleagues, we should celebrate this in the spirit of New Year together. That's why I decided to bring this idea of feeding them. Crime is a crime, whichever way you go into it, and it is bad enough. And you could see some of them crying. I think it's a message that some that have gone down into many of them here that crime is not good. I identify some of them here who are brought in here as deadly as human beings, but they are now so bad. And who will do this? It doesn't mean that the law should not take its course.
A meeting between a team set up by the federal government and the leadership of the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, is currently ongoing in Abuja with a view to preventing a looming nationwide strike by medical doctors. Speaking to State House correspondents before the meeting, the governor of Delta State, Emmanuel Oduagon, gave the assurance that the federal government will not allow the planned strike to hold. He said that President Jonathan had looked at the issues raised by the doctors and is determined to ensure that the action scheduled for January the 6th is averted.
Well, there are issues that have been raised by the Nigerian Medical Association, for which they have threatened to strike, to go on strike. They had a warning strike for 5 days, and so the president calls a stakeholders meeting this afternoon to look at the issues again. We are going for a meeting now at 5 o'clock with the NMA. At least there are some things that the president has consented to, and I believe that by the time we finish the meeting this evening, there will be some resolution. Our determination is to ensure that that strike of 6th of January is averted. Of course, we cannot afford another strike in the health sector. 1 minute of strike in the health sector by whatever body can be very disastrous.
First Bank, truly the first.
Well, let's find out what's happening in the world of business. Here's Adeshawa Josh.
Well, thank you. In business news, Governor Tanko Almakura of Nasarawa State has presented 114.5 billion appropriation bill to the State Assembly. He also proposed free education for primary and secondary schools. According to Mr. Almakura, the bill will focus on critical areas, with education retaining the top spot of 21.8 billion, while lands and urban renewal will gulp 11.4 billion naira.
The Nasarawa State Governor laying a copy of the 2014 budget estimates tagged Budget of Reality before the State House of Assembly. Mr. Almakura took members by surprise when he publicly pronounced free education for all in the state.
The total budget size of 114 billion 545 million 424,343 naira only is presented for the 2014 budget. Grant free education from primary to secondary level, as well as award of scholarship for normal children in the state. We also grant
The Speaker and some members who commended the governor, however, urged him to tread carefully with the pronouncement of free education in the face of dwindling allocation accruing to the state.
While we are already battling with how to pay our bill, as you complain as one of the reasons for the non-implementation of the 2013 appropriation, but it is the good of men, and I want to hope and pray that God the Almighty will guide you.
It's a wide, very big ambition, looking at the situation and the promises and the commitment we made in the first year of his administration to civil servant on payment of minimum wage, which has become a serious epidemic to the state in civil service.
Of the 114.5 billion naira budget, recurrent expenditure is to go up 59.5 billion naira. 54.9 billion naira is for capital projects in the areas of roads, market development, housing, and youth empowerment. The executive says it hopes to improve efficiency in revenue generation and be strict in expenditure control and accountability.
The first trading session at the Nigerian stock market after the New Year break closed on a negative note today. While the slight depreciation had little impact on the market sentiment, players in the market say that the kind is not a reason to fret. Our correspondent Temple Ashaju reports.
The first trading day in the year had fewer stockbrokers on the floor. Those present believe the hangover from the festivity on the part of investors is most likely the cause of the bearish close of trading.
The first day you have not met any client, no client has possibly given you order. The order you are executing today is the one you are not able to execute before the holiday. If you look at the momentum from the beginning of trading, it looked as if the market was going to close bullish. But apparently it ended on a bearish note. But by the time other traders come in, say Monday, then we'll have a true reflection of where we'll be heading to.
For the management of the exchange, regulatory measures will be maintained to prevent investment losses in the market this year.
Again, because our standards have been raising, have been put on a higher level, in the sense that we're benchmarking against Johannesburg, New York Stock Exchange, and London. So the regulatory framework is quite, robust enough to ensure that when companies come to the market, they're actually the right companies that are fit and proper to be in Nigerian Stock Exchange. So we're seeing a bit of, delays in those companies being listed. But yes, we're likely to see issuers coming to the market more than they did last year in 2014.
A southwards trend on the market on the very first trading day of the year is not supposed to discourage investments in the market. Recall that as part of the dynamics of the stock markets, the ups and downs of equities work together to help achieve the right decision for investments. From the Nigerian Stock Exchange, I am Temple Ashaju reporting for Channels Television News.
And for more on the laggards and gainers at the stock exchange, here is Harriet Agbe.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Now, for the first trading day of the year, the Nigerian equities market gave up some of the gains recorded on Tuesday, the last trading day of 2013, but key indicators are still looking quite strong. Well, the all-share index slipped by 0.24% from Tuesday's figure of 41,329.19 to 41,228.49 points, owing to price losses logged by some stocks including Nestle, Forte Oil, Nigerian Breweries, Zenith Bank and Guinness Nigeria. While on the price appreciation list, Total with a 3 naira 30 kobo gain led Owando and Dangote Cement, as well as 39 other value gainers for the day. For Sterling Bank with 104.83 million shares exchanged was the most actively traded stock for the day and is followed by FCMB with 41.58 million units and NEM Insurance with 38.31 million units. The other equities on the top trades list were Unity Bank and UBA. When the closing bell rang, 489.41 million shares had been exchanged in 3,966 deals, valued at 3.93 billion naira. But those are the day's trading figures. I'm Harriet Agbinu.
The Central Bank of Nigeria will resume trade in foreign exchange next week Monday. The Apex Bank, which closed dollar sales for the year on the 18th of December last year, increased its offer at the retail Dutch auction system to $400 million last Monday and Wednesday. Meanwhile, at its last official dollar sales, the CBN offered $400 million but sold $399.98 million, even as the bidding value of the naira dropped to 158 naira 82 kobo at the official window. That's business news at this hour. The News at 10 continues in a moment.
First Bank, truly the first.
Still ahead on the news at 10, at least 5 people killed in blast in southern Beirut. That's on the foreign scene. Do stay with us.